So the 2021 NBA draft is just a few days away, and this draft class is known as one of the more talented draft classes over the last few years, as it has many players who many people believe can be all-stars or even superstars. But that's not just what makes this draft class so talented. It's the fact that they have a bunch of talented players who are not going to be selected high in the draft that people still think can be very good players. So in today's video, I'll be discussing the 5 most underrated prospects in the 2021 NBA draft. Before we get into the video, I just want you to know I appreciate the support I've been getting lately. I really do appreciate you guys helping me out and stuff, and subscribing and stuff. Really makes me happy. I also want to say I'd appreciate if you dropped a like on this video, as it does help my channel grow. Also subscribe to my channel because I literally post every single day, and it would help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Also drop a comment on this video whether or not you agree or disagree with what I said, because I will respond to your comment. And play that intro. First underrated prospect I want to talk about is Kai Jones out of Texas. Jones is a 6'11", 220-pound center. He excels at being an athletic big man, which allows him to be an absolutely great lob target due to his long wingspan and high vertical. He also is significantly faster than most players who are his size, which allows him to outrun other big men in transition for easy points. As I said, he's pretty fast for his size, and that allows him to be able to switch on the guards and just perimeter players in general. Most players his size aren't that slow, aren't that fast, and they can guard perimeter players, but he is a guy who I definitely think could. And in today's NBA, one of the more useful things is having a center who can guard the pick and roll and guard perimeter players, and Kai Jones can do just that. But what makes him even more special is the fact that he can actually space the floor, as he shot 38% from 3 in the college. And having a center who can space the floor is definitely a huge advantage. He's not a guy like Brook Lopez who's going to shoot a bunch of them, but I don't think he's going to be like a guy who could leave open. He's also a capable ball handler, and he can bring the ball up in transition at times. He's pretty good at getting rebounds due to his height and athleticism. He's also a really good help defender, as he uses his length and athleticism to protect the rim a lot. He might not get a lot of blocks, but he does alter a lot of shots. To point out some of his weaknesses is the fact that he's a pretty skinny and weak center, and that leads me to believe that he might not be great at guarding centers one-on-one, especially guys like Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, or even guys like Nikola Vucevic, due to the fact that they could just bully him in the post. He's also a guy who gets in a lot of foul trouble because he jumps too much, and even though he's a good ball handler and he has good body control, he's not that great of a passer. But nonetheless, Jones is definitely a guy who I think is an intriguing prospect, because he seems like a guy who could be perfect in today's modern NBA as a center, because he's a versatile guy who can shoot the ball, guard perimeter players, literally everything you would want in a player. He also can protect the rim as well as handle the ball decently. I think he's probably going to get selected with the 11th pick, but I see him falling as far from the 20th pick. But I do think the Charlotte Hornets will and should select him with the 11th pick, because I feel like what they need right now is a center, and getting one who fits perfectly for the modern NBA definitely is an advantage. Second prospect I'll be talking about in the 2021 NBA draft, who I think is underrated, is Cameron Thomas out of LSU. He's a 6'4" shooting guard, and he's 200 pounds. He scores the ball very well. He's a guy who has supreme confidence and has the ability to get on fire very quickly. He's a 3-level scorer, meaning he's really good at shooting the 3, and he can shoot the mid-range especially very well, and he's pretty good at attacking the basket as well. He has very solid and good handles that allow him to break down defenders, so he can get open shots and get room for anything. He also isn't a player who only does well with the ball in his hands. He's very good at moving off the ball to get himself open looks, kind of like JJ Redick. He's not afraid to take difficult shots and to make difficult shots. He's very good at attacking the rim because he's really crafty when it comes to finishing at the rim, and he's a really strong guard. He's also great at drawing fouls, as he's an excellent free throw line shooter, as he did shoot 88% in college, and that definitely is an underrated skill, the ability to draw fouls. That could definitely definitely maybe make him even a 20 points per game scorer in the NBA. To point out some of his weaknesses, it's the fact that he seems kind of like a one-dimensional scorer and like player, because he's a guy, if he's not scoring for you, he's not really doing much else for you. He also has decent potential to be a solid defender, but in college he really wasn't one. He really lacked effort on that side of the floor. He also isn't a playmaker at all, and he usually just shoots the ball if he gets it. He often misses open teammates. He's also very inefficient because, as I said, he takes a lot of difficult shots, which leads to him missing a lot of shots. He's not a crazy athletic player, so you could fear that against like more athletic NBA defenders he could struggle. But nonetheless, I think Cameron Thomas shows some potential to be a guy like maybe like Lou Williams, because his scoring ability is already elite, and I think on the right team he could do some damage. I don't know if he has like superstar potential or all-star potential like that, but I do think he can be a really good scorer on a team. He's projected to go somewhere around the late first round to the early second round, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes. The third underrated prospect I want to talk about from the 2021 NBA draft is Jalen Johnson out of Duke. Johnson's a 6'9", 220-pound forward. He's a very athletic player and he's very strong, and I really hope that leads to him being a good rebounder. On the defensive side of the floor, he's pretty good and he's uses his length to steal the ball a lot, and he can guard bigger forwards due to his strength. He's also a guy who could guard some centers at a decent level, and he could definitely switch on the perimeter and guard perimeter players. He also has solid ball handling skills for his size, as he can take the ball up the court many times, and he has decent passing skills so he can hit open teammates. Per 40 minutes in college, he averaged 21 points and 11 rebounds as a freshman at Duke. That just shows his talent. When he attacked the rim, defenders just bounced off due to his strength, and he has really good finesse and touch. He's really good in transition, and he's good at drawing fouls. Not necessarily that he draws fouls, but he's just so dominant in the paint that he always was getting fouled. To name out some of his weaknesses, it's the fact that he's not a great three-point shooter. He's pretty inconsistent, but he does show some potential to maybe be a good one day. Also, his playmaking is very inconsistent, and that's mainly due to the fact that some games he could have 7 assists and have 1 or 2 turnovers. Then the next game he could randomly have 3 assists and then have 6 turnovers. There's also questions about his attitude and whether or not he's a guy who could be a team player and things like that. He's also a poor free throw shooter, which is not a great sign for his three-point shot in the future. But nonetheless, Jalen Johnson is a guy who I think on a rebuilding team or just the right situation could be a star player, because he's a versatile defender who's great at finishing at the rim. He can even attack the basket. He has decent skills all around. I think if he goes to a rebuilding team, as I said, and the team that will just allow him to grow, I honestly could see him turn into kind of a point forward type of player. And he's projected to go somewhere around the mid first round to at latest the 20th pick, and I think he's going to go to the Warriors with the 14th pick. But regardless of what team he goes to, it's possible that he makes his an impact straight out the gate, since he is a good defender. The fourth underrated NBA prospect I'll be talking about from the 2021 NBA draft is Moses Moody out of Arkansas. Moody is a 6'6" forward art guard. He has good size for a wing with a frame that should be able to put on muscle easily. He's comfortable shooting off the catch, and he can even do 1 or 2 dribble pull-ups. He has an excellent feel for the game, and his instincts allow him to be in the right place at the right time. He really is just a very smart player. He can even create space for his teammates, and he knows how to create openings in the defense. Just a very high IQ player. He rebounds the ball really well for a guard due to his size. He also can hit contested shots that are from 3 at a pretty good level. He's also a guy who plays pretty good positional defense. He's not a lockdown perimeter defender, and he's not a guy who can go out and guard the best player on the other team, but he just has so much IQ, and some might argue that's as important as being a good one-on-one defender. To point out some of his weaknesses, is the fact that he's not a guy who's great at creating his own shot, and he's just not great at creating offense for himself at all, as he's not really that athletic, and his first step isn't that quick. It doesn't really allow him to blow by defenders often. He may also need to depend on his teammates to create shots for him. He may struggle if he's crowded by a lot of athletic defenders, and he's not much of a passer, and his handles definitely need some work. He's not a turnover machine or anything like that, but he's not a guy who's gonna go out and get teammates open shots or anything close to that. So he definitely could struggle when it comes to being guarded by elite defenders in the NBA. He also isn't great at one-on-one defense at all, and I think he could struggle against quicker guards. But regardless, I think Moody is a guy who could be a steal in the draft due to the fact that he seems like a guy who could be just a really good and smart, really good smart player who can go out and like do the little dirty work stuff. Going into like the college season, he was a guy who many thought could be like a top 10 pick in the draft, but his draft like stock fell down a lot, and now he's projected to be like a mid lottery pick to like a late lottery pick. Nonetheless, I think whatever team gets him like is gonna get a really good role player out of him. I don't really think he can be a star or anything like that, but every team needs a good role player, and I think he could do just that. But to conclude the video, any of these guys that I just mentioned, I truly believe any of these guys can be an actual steal in the draft. It's not guaranteed, but I kind of just wanted to predict some players in case they actually do go out and be a steal in the draft, because I actually do believe these guys can. But I just want to be able to say that I did predict it. And if I didn't name someone who's underrated, who you think is underrated, don't get mad at me or anything like that. Just like comment it down below and like say what they're good at and stuff, because I don't know every single college prospect, but these are definitely some guys who stood out to me. And yeah, anyways guys, that's it for the video. Let me know some underrated college prospects that you know about. Drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content, and if you want to help reach a goal of 1,500 subscribers. Drop a comment on this video, start a conversation, and I do respond to all of my comments, and I'm out.